Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And on today's Going In Raw news brief, Triple H talks moving NXT off Wednesday nights. Edge offers up an injury update, and we preview tonight's AEW Dynamite and NXT. But first, is John Cena's in-ring career finished? Larson, what's in the news?
So apart from narrating the open of Clash of Champions this past Sunday, we really haven't seen much John Cena since he disappeared. You can't see him at the conclusion of his Firefly Funhouse match against Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania this year. But has his in-ring career truly come to an end? I can't talk right now. I'm sorry. Cena answered that question during an appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, saying in these transcripts from WrestleZone, quote, with the elbow grease books, those are his kids' books, I have a very young audience in WWE. A lot of kids, a lot of families, and as my in-ring career is not as active, it's not over, but it's not as active, I wanted to continue to send messaging to those young viewers because so many times parents have said your never give up words have helped my son or daughter.
Oh, I want to get an elbow. I didn't even know he did children's books. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know how many he's done, but I read the announcement of his first one.
Let's see here. I see at least one. There's a couple here versus Motozilla. Yeah, so he's like a car. That's cool. Anyway, it's like what was that show? Wasn't there a show back in the day that like a dude turned into it was a cartoon, dude turned into a car?
I'm about a dude who turned into a car. There's Blaze and the Monster Machines that's on right now. That's talking cars.
I'm talking about in the 80s. Anyways, so yeah, his phone's on whenever Vince wants to call, and Cena's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Sure. As long as
he there's time in his schedule because he is a busy man. He's got all sorts of, he has a new HBO show coming out sometime based on his character in Suicide Squad. So it's going to be very busy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a situation where it's going to be spot duty probably at best, major shows on occasion. You can't expect him to do an Undertaker type thing where he shows up 2 or 3 times a year. Dude's way too busy, advancing his own acting career. But to think that he'd be gone from WWE forever.
Be nice to happen because of what happened at WrestleMania.
I know.
It's the perfect end for him. Anyways, speaking of something that isn't going to end, NXT Wednesday nights, probably not going to change. Triple H talked about this prospective move during his traditional pre-takeover conference call. He was asked about this, and he responded thusly, and these transcripts come to you via Fightful. I'm happy with where we are. There are conversations around all of our products at all times. The best place for it to sit, the best place for it to work, all of that. Funny, I don't hear anybody else talking about people moving on Wednesdays since we were always on Wednesdays. It comes down to a question of where the show fits best. Not only for us, but our partners and wherever they want to go. We're open to doing the best business we can, but it's not as simple as it's our decision, and we just put the show where we want. Those decisions are made by partners and everything else along the way. People tend to believe what they want to believe, but it's not a concern to me. We go out to put out the best show that we can put on every week with the talent we have, which I consider the best in the world, to do the best show we can. As far as where it sits, those are business questions that come down to WWE and our partners.
So they're not moving.
I'm happy about that, man. Allows me to keep on doing Impact streams, which I didn't do yesterday, but apparently Melissa Santos found out.
I saw the video of that.
About the Lizard Steve emote. Ooh, I might have to do. Hey, here's the thing, though. If I do a Melissa Santos emote, which Impact apparently doesn't want to do, in order to use that, they have to sub to our channel. So we could get the entire Impact stream, chat room, subbing to good old Going In Raw. Anyways.
There you go.
Yeah, this isn't shocking. It does kind of seem, though, that Triple H is I'm not going to say his statements during the conference call, some of the other things that he said, makes it seem like he's on the outside looking in. So there's this, the Wrestling Observer quoted this. In that it says Triple H says he has no idea what role NXT will play in the upcoming draft. Like you, I'll sit back and see the excitement unfold. Now, would he this is generally pretty standard stuff. Yeah. He seems to be as surprised by call-ups as anybody else is.
Yeah, it seems like he does what he does in NXT. He focuses on NXT, and if something involving NXT happens around him, and someone taps him on the shoulder and says, "Paul, this is going to happen," I think all he can really do is, "Oh well."
And then he shuffles things around and works and does the
adapts,
best he can with what he has. I mean, that's the one thing that people have to realize with NXT as it pertains to, I mean, both the ratings, if you're interested in that kind of thing, and just the general creative NXT. It is AEW, they are doing everything possible to present the best top show they can. NXT literally can't do that because they are hamstrung by the whims of the main roster, by the whims of Vince McMahon. So they could be in the middle of a huge feud, a massive feud, and then somebody will just be plucked, or something will happen.
Yep.
So yeah, it just sounds like he focuses on making Wednesdays the best possible product with what he has available. I'm sure, he obviously is probably a really competitive guy. And I'm sure that he would love to be winning the ratings war for NXT, but I'm sure he also understands not exactly possible given that he has the limited resources that Vince McMahon offers him for NXT.
Yep. Definitely.
Speaking of other guys that are competitive, I guess, I don't know, Edge. What do we got about Edge?
He seems competitive, yeah. So we haven't heard a whole lot from the Rated R superstar since he tore his triceps at Backlash in the greatest match ever. But he recently called in to Bust It Open and gave an update on his recovery from said injury. These transcripts are from Wrestling Inc. Quote, "It's a learning process because I'm going to be 47 next month, so I don't know how I heal from injuries, surgeries, and things like that. It's a slow process. I'm not going to lie. The triceps is a different thing. I got back from an Achilles in 6 months. That's crazy. But I was 35 doing that, so at 10 plus years, I don't know. It's a different thing. You don't realize how much your tricep is involved in almost everything you do in terms of arm movement. I know it's a lot slower than I thought it was going to be because I just have this mentality of, right, no big deal, surgery, physical therapy, and we grind through it. We break down the scar tissue and off we go. So I don't know if it's the injury itself or if I'm a little older. I don't know what it is, but it's not as fast as I would have liked. So I always thought the idea was going to be about 8 months, which would have been the end of the year. So, we're still pretty much 2.5 months from that. So who knows? We've been kind of speculating that at some point he might insert himself in this Randall Orton, Drew McIntyre thing to further motivate another Edge Orton match. Probably at WrestleMania, but it seems like if that's the case, they're probably going to wait till he's pretty much cleared and ready to go so he doesn't re-injure himself. So if that's the case, we're looking, whatever the December pay-per-view is, probably the Rumble.
Yeah. There's also, and I would not say don't take him at his word here. I'm sure everything he's saying is legit. But
he also said he wasn't coming back.
Yeah, with wrestlers and with Edge, as we've seen, you got to sort of understand that he's not going to spoil when he's coming back. So there's the possibility that it's going better, and he's just putting this out there. Tend to think, I don't know if he'd lie about something like this or if he'd stretch the truth on something like this.
Well, there's no stretching of the truth. The whole thing he's saying here is, I don't know.
That's true. That's true too. Yeah, he's being very non-committal about it. I mean, he does say. Didn't he say here? Let's see. It's a slow process. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's, okay. It's not going as fast as I would have liked, but maybe he's just comparing that to Wolverine type speed. I don't know.
John Cena type healing factor.
Yeah, exactly. And Achilles for 6 months.
That's crazy. That was a full on Achilles tear and healing up for 6 months from that. That's insane.
That's pretty
usually
insane.
A year.
That's because that's what Xavier Woods has, right? Yeah.
And Ember Moon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Somebody who unfortunately is dealing with an injury, a legitimate injury at this point, WWE confirming Tegan Nox's injury is not just a storyline thing. So she was listed on the NXT injury report last week after a backstage attack at the hands of Candice LeRae. But given that those reports are often kayfabed, We weren't sure if she was genuinely suffering a knee injury or if NXT was just running an angle. Twitter user quickly took to Twitter to confirm. Is it so do Twitter? Is that like the TW? Is that what it means?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
What's the so and the do mean? I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
Anyways, and today NXT themselves double confirmed it, stating that Tegan had a torn ACL. Triple H confirmed this in his conference call.
Mentioned that she had already undergone surgery.
That's right. She already went through surgery. Fightful was reporting that. Absolutely terrible. Just absolutely terrible for her. Obviously, she's been through this multiple times at this point, and he had said, Triple H, I'm paraphrasing, but according to the Fightful thing as well, every time they get something started with her, this ends up happening, and it's really disappointing. It has to be just gut wrenching for her.
Well, and doubly so since it's more or less similar injuries. She had that horrible injury during the Mae Young Classic. Seemed like she'd recovered, and then now another knee injury. I mean, that's disheartening to say the least. You know
what was interesting to me, this is probably a no-brainer, but when the attack happened, I don't know, when you tear your ACL, do you not go in immediately to the hospital, or can you sit there with it for a bit and then film an attack like that?
Yeah.
That's the case?
There have been times where people will tear their ACL and then not many weeks, but a couple weeks later get surgery. Usually they don't do anything with it, usually, I don't think, until the swelling has subsided somewhat. So, DeJuan Blair had an entire NBA career with no ACL.
Yeah, that's different, though. Wasn't he born with no ACLs?
Yeah. But that's something he was born with, and so his body adapted,
Yeah.
At least that's my understanding. I think he was born with no ACLs.
I think, that's what I had read, too. And, his knee area just sort of adapted to it.
Yeah.
That was always crazy. Anyways, it's Wednesday. We've got an AEW preview and an NXT preview. Hey, Larson, AEW Stan, why don't you take the AEW preview?
Sure, gladly. AEW, number one. So we got Mox taking on a mystery opponent selected by Eddie Kingston. Please let it be Pentagon Jr.
It's going to be Pentagon Jr. I can guarantee that.
And then also, is Cody going to answer Brody Lee's challenge? Yes, he will. I think Cody posted a picture of the Greg Valentine, Roddy Piper dog collar match on his Twitter, so I'm guessing he's going to agree to that stipulation. We're getting FTR offering SCU a 20-minute brush with greatness. Darby Allin versus Ricky Starks. That'll be good. Chris Jericho versus Isaiah Cassidy. Orange Cassidy versus the Dark Order's 10. And then Britt Baker will be back in action. All right. NXT Stan, Steve, you take this one.
Well, hold on. I want to mention this about AEW really quick. SCU is totally going to go the 20 minutes, and it means a win for FTR tonight, right? That's going to establish the precedent for that, I think.
Either that or it's going to go 19 minutes and 45 seconds, and FTR will win then.
Oh, that could be, because they're using the good combo of SCU. Scorpio Sky is back in it, I think. I think he's fighting this match.
Sky and Kazarian?
I think it's Sky and Kazarian, yeah. Anyways, yeah, NXT number one in my heart, not in the ratings. Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly set for a face-to-face hosted by Shawn Michaels.
Did you see the promotional still for this?
No, I didn't.
So you got Finn on one side in profile, Kyle the other side in profile, like the stock Shawn Michaels picture in between. It's so bad.
He's got a big goofy smile, I think, doesn't he?
It's so bad.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be wearing his Undisputed Era hat like he was on Raw.
Of course he is. It's so bad.
Yeah. NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai joins North American Champion Damian Priest against Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. Oh, there's Johnny. And then Shotzi Blackheart to square off with Dakota Kai after their Battle Royal dust-up. So 3 things are happening on NXT. I'm sure there will be more things. There are a couple matches added to the Takeover card. over the past week. We had Kushida versus Velveteen Dream, and
then Santos Escobar versus Swerve.
The cruiserweight match, yeah. So,
so
there you go.
The build to this takeover has almost been short.
Yeah, it's been short.
But takeovers in terms of match quality usually deliver. So,
so yeah, there you go. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Tonight we will be our live AEW recap will be at the twitch.tv/Steve and Larson, and then tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, we'll have our NXT review at the same place. Of course, after the live recap goes up right here at YouTube and wherever audio podcasts can be found. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.